What's happening, everybody? Matt here, but you can call me Matub, and welcome to Hottest Take of the Week, show where I look at dumb stuff on the internet and we talk about it. Last week I said if the Packers won against the spread, I would dance on camera, and this week that will also hold true. The Packers are 0-2 against the spread, and I have yet to have to dance on this show. Woo! But also boo. Packers tied with the Vikings, and it was their first tie since the last time they tied with the Vikings. The game was marred by poor officiating on both sides and should have ended with an interception, but instead ended with an overtime sadness. Overtime sadness. That sounds like a terrible parody of summertime sadness. This week, everyone had lots of things to say about lots of things, mostly to do with penalties and the way people are treated. There was only one fine to be handed down from the Packers-Vikings game, and that was Sendejo's hit on Davante Adams. The league is not screwing around with defenseless receiver penalties. Clay Matthews and Anthony Barr were both not fined for their hits on their respective opponents' quarterbacks. Clay Matthews made what, in my opinion, and actually seems to be the vast opinion of basically anyone who watches football, was that Clay did everything he could not to break a rule. He completed a perfect form tackle with his shoulder in Cousins' gut, and they're saying he did the scoop and lift thing, but Cousins' feet never actually went up. Clay left his feet. Like, he was falling. Like, you leave your feet when you fall. Okay. But this week, the Packers are going to be taking on Washington, and I think that General Aaron Rodgers can make a return, and we're going to party like it's 18-12. The Packers go in as 3-point favorites according to OddsShark, and once again, I will continue. If the Packers win against the spread, saying that the Packers win by more than 3 points, then I will dance on next week's show. But enough about next week. Let's talk about last week. Ryan Wood. Ryan Wood is a person that I've talked about on the show quite a bit. The man is a walking Twitter ratio. The man just goes on Twitter and reacts and just says whatever comes to his mind, and then proceeds to quote tweet anyone that disagrees with him and attempt to dunk on them. Be like, yeah, great job, Ryan, quote tweeting that guy with 7 followers and a picture holding a fish. You sure got him. But Ryan, when dissecting the film, said a lot of things. Okay, so I'm going to play the clip here. Ryan said that Anthony Barr could have done whatever he wanted to Aaron Rodgers here. He clearly held up. Don't imagine him be getting many thank you notes from Packers fans anytime soon, though. Really? Because it looks to me like Aaron is giving himself up and moving parallel. And by the time that Barr reaches him, really all he could do was potentially get a unnecessary roughness penalty. Anthony was just making sure that Rodgers didn't advance anymore. It's kind of what you do. Yes, he was a runner. Yes, he can get hit. But the way he was moving means that Barr would have been able to get him with a glancing blow, maybe. But, once again, Ryan's always got to try and play devil's advocate and appeal to the other side. So, speaking of Ryan siding with the Vikings, he also put out video of the Kendricks hit on Rodgers that was flagged. And everyone wants to talk about, well, you took the Kendricks, and that was going to be a punt, but then it ended up being a field goal. Well, the thing that people forget is the Vikings were also offsides. It would have been 1st and 5. So why are we even talking about the Kendricks hit? Whether or not that was a flag, it would have not affected the game whatsoever. The Packers would have been able to continue their drive based on the offsides penalty, not completely predicated on Kendricks' penalty. I will give credit where credit is due. Kendricks made sure to turn his body at the last second so as to not land on Rodgers. So, I don't know. It depends on what your definition of driving is. He does kind of lurch forward, but it's tackle. But the take of takes on Ryan's Twitter timeline came immediately after the flag was thrown against Clay Matthews and the what should have been game-sealing interception by Jaire Alexander. I gotta read this. I'm gonna go into my sensual reading for this. Clay Matthews thought he just won the game for the Packers. Took a while until he saw the yellow laying next to him. Matthews couldn't believe it, but clearly drove Kirk Cousins into the ground. Can't do that anymore. Wipes out Jair Alexander's interception. Tough call, but that's the rule. Like, Ryan Wood is now tweeting his takes like he's writing a shitty noir film. Ryan, just, it's like you're seeking attention. Every time you do something like this, you just get ratioed, and then you even go down into the thread. Don't go into the thread when you're getting ratioed. That's like the worst thing that you can do. He also spent the next few days walking this back. I looked at the film, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, so you know what? Give it up to him for leaving the tweet up and taking his lumps. I'm assuming that he muted it almost immediately, though. Not the hottest take ever, especially since it was walked back. I'm going to give it a 2. Congratulations, Ryan Wood. You have made it on Hottest Take of the Week once again. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. Short episode this week. I am hyped to see the Packers play a road game. But as Mike Daniels said, the location just changes. That's about it. I think that we're going to see a lot of green and gold in D.C. this weekend. I think that we're going to see a lot more of the Aaron Rodgers hobbled offense that we've come to know and love from 2014. And I'm just happy that we get to see more football with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. Well, guys, that'll do it for me. As always, I'm Matt, but you can call me Matub, and let's party like it's 1812.